Are you operating from your core or are you operating from your circumference? What do I mean by that? Well, imagine you have this plate and the center is your core. That is your purpose, your values, what matters to you, who you authentically are. On the circumference out here are the OPs, other people's opinions, other people's expectations, other people's attitudes. And when we operate from our core, when we stand firm in who we are, if you imagine this plate, if I, in theory, put one or two fingers on it, I can be balanced, right? And I can withstand, I can put stuff on the plate and it's not going to tip over. But if I try to operate from the circumference, it's not going to work. It's going to flip over. And I know this is a goofy example, but when we operate from the circumference, we are running around, and as soon as we try to meet one person's opinion or one person's expectation, we're not meeting someone else's, and it's exhausting. Brene Brown says that it is in human nature to care what other people think, but when we're defined by it, we lose our capacity to lead. And so often we spend so much time running around trying to seek the approval and accolades of people whose opinions really don't matter. And we steamroll over the people who actually matter the most to us. And so she encourages us to identify what's called our square squad. Take a piece of paper and literally draw a 1 inch by 1 inch square. And in that square, write the initials of the people whose opinions actually matter. The people who care about you, know you, have your back, and want the best for you. And it is a 1 inch by 1 inch because that tends to not be that many people. And really think about, is your square squad getting the best of you, or are they getting the crappy leftover version of you? And so often we're running around trying to seek the approval of people who really don't matter, who are on the circumference, who are not in our square squad. And it depletes the people in our square squad that we should be paying attention to. So my challenge and invitation for you today is twofold. First, start to do the work to get really clear about your core, who you are, your purpose, your values, what matters to you, what you care about, and look at how you can nurture that in your calendar, in your time, in your energy by saving room for things that are absolute yeses that fulfill and nurture that, and starting to set some boundaries and say no to the things that don't honor your core. When we live from our core, it becomes easier to say no to the things on the circumference without guilt and resentment. And it also becomes easier to say yes to the things that matter to us because there's alignment. My second invitation for you is to identify who is actually in your square squad and then look for at least one meaningful way you can invest in and strengthen that relationship this week. Start giving your square squad the best of you rather than the leftover version of you. I would love to hear what's opening up for you as you put this into practice. And remember, no matter how hard the world gets, never ever let anyone dull your sparkle.